Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am excited to get started again today. Thank you to all of you who are here with me now or maybe with me later. And it goes to those who tune in as we get going too. Blessings to all of you. My hope today, we'll share some thoughts, some ideas together, maybe a little bit of fellowship, but the goal and the idea is hopefully, may we grow with joy, some peace together today. Blessings to all of you, sincerely. You tell me, namaste, PF away. Frank Monday, the chatter, Swinton's Birds, of course, and so many of you are here. Golly gee. See, this is why I don't like starting with the names, because then I end up worrying about missing them. Blessings to all of you who are swinging through. And Lindsay. Tommy will certainly be here shortly, I'm sure. Although I saw he was premiering or streaming, doing something earlier today. So for those who know, you know the lore and you know what's going on. We'll jump through some things today. The idea today, the topic, finding awareness of truth and grace. With the background, the reminder, in this case, he's done miracles on me. You could call that Jesus. You could call it God, life. And in the thumbnail today, God has prepared us for this time in truth. And I've been given quite a bit of thought to this idea of time and how it works and stuff. How we interact with time. And if you consider these ideas, it seems to make sense, right? Layers of the past and images of the future are both reflected in the truth of today. In today, we've got layers and layers of past experiences, past memories, all of these things. And within us is the unrealized, uncaptured potential of who we are. And that unrealized potential of us, it is an image of the future that's with us here today. And if you think about it in that kind of way, bring God into the equation, God has prepared us for this time to be with truth, in the truth. And if you think about it, time is an experience that was prepared for you, prepared for me to discover. What does time bring? What do we bring? What do you bring? What do I bring for this time that we share? I've got a lot of ideas already. There's been a lot going on today in the news, in the nation. I've got some things set up that we will be talking about regarding that direction as well. Um, where do I want to start? Finding the awareness of truth and grace. I pulled this up right before the stream when I was considering these ideas, right? Jesus brought the truth and grace. John 1:17, grace and truth came by Jesus Christ, signifying a shift from the old covenant of law through Moses to the new covenant of God's unmerited favor. That's what grace is, unmerited favor, the ultimate reality of truth embodied in Jesus, fulfilling the law, revealing God's character, providing salvation through his presence, offering forgiveness and righteousness, where in the past the law could only condemn. And so, if you consider the idea that Christ is the new creation and each day is a new creation for you, be with that. That's my goal. My goal for me is to be with that which is. And that which is for me, from my perspective, it's limited to right now. Right now and right here is where I know that which is. Everything else is just fluttering around in the mind, man. The only thing we actually deal with in the moment is the moment. That didn't make sense. You know what? Some of these ideas, what I have been seeking for myself, what helps me find greater peace and comfort in myself, in my heart, and in my mind, it's awareness, awareness of the truth. And I know I have participated in and I have witnessed many, many, many conversations on what is the truth? How do you know the truth? What's the difference between the subjective truth and the objective truth? These are all things for us to know. Finding awareness of the truth, consider what that means and what that does. This is what I did for myself. I considered myself, what is my relationship with the truth? How do I know the truth? If you're anything like me, the truth is actually a feeling. It is a sense, right? We've got our other physical senses of sight and sound and taste and feel, right? But there's also the internal sensing. And we can sense through our intuition and through our heart's resonance. I don't know if that's the right description, but we can feel what is right and what's not right. We're not always accurate, because we've got limitations on our old mind boogers, but we we have within us the ability to feel and to sense the truth. And in the absence of the truth, I think we all know that feeling. That's when we get afraid, right? When you don't know the answers, that's when you feel a little unease, you feel anxious. But once you find the answer that's true for you, you find the truth for you, that piece that fits, it can totally transform how you are, the direction you're living, how you walk. It'll control, the truth will change and transform how you move. But if you don't have an awareness of the truth, if you don't even have an awareness of the truth that you're missing, that's when you've really got a problem. When you don't know the question to ask, right? When you don't know the answer you need, that's when things really start to suffer. At least that's been my experience. So, through the grace of God, And I love that description of grace being God's unmerited favor, meaning undeserved, unearned favor. We're graced with life. We're graced with Mother Earth. We're graced with everything we've got. Did we earn it? It comes from God's character. It comes from God's goodness that brings forth all of these things for us to discover. So in the path of seeking the truth, finding the awareness of the truth, right? Discovering the truth. If you realize that's what you are a being, right? You and me, we are the beings who are on this path to know. And if you don't know that's what you're doing, you might not find yourself on that path. But if you stay on this path to grow in the awareness of truth, to seek grace, to be with grace, it really transforms everything. This idea of to know the truth, you must discern. You must be able to discern through the irrelevant, to identify what is relevant. You must also be able to discern what is real and what is not real. And so if you consider these ideas of the power of truth, it will transform you. Then that gift of discernment, that's a spiritual gift. You guys are so funny, man. Hey, Chucky, why don't you take a hike? Okay. You want to talk about my son and my grandchild in the chat? You can leave, Chucky. You're not a friend of mine. So that's it. Hey, regarding today, I did actually invite a guest because there's a lot happening in the world today, and I only paid attention to what I paid attention to. But today, it's kind of way off from the topic of finding awareness of truth and grace, and yet it's not as well, because what is happening is true. What is happening in our world is true, and it's not always pleasant or appropriate. So I'm feeling kind of like just next to my flow. I don't feel like I'm in the flow yet. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our guest, Truther Cop. Welcome to you.
Greetings, Mr. Talcott. How are you?
I'm good. Your audio is soft. I'm going to turn you up.
Well, check my settings.
And I'm going to try that. I think hopefully that's a little better.
How's it now?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I'll speak up too. It was January 4th. We covered BG on the scene, and Jake Lang were in D.C. at an APAC protest. There's something out there. And News to Share was also out there. Well, today they were both out in Minneapolis. BG on the scene and Jake Lang again caught my eye. And I guess News to Share was also there, which we talked about that before here a couple weeks ago. And
yes.
First, there's so many people talked about this. Andrew Wilson was even restreaming it today, which was unusual to see him like live stream political protest. Very interesting.
Yes. I'm not sure you're making a lot of sense to the viewers.
Oh yeah, I'm relying on the clips to fill it in, but yeah, feel free.
Okay. So some of the names you mentioned, we in an earlier live stream, we had brought up some of these names. Truther Cop had brought these up with me. News to Share, correct? And B&G on the scene. And then we had addressed these guys previously. They're just other content creators, and I'll put the links in later for others if you want them, we'll get them out later. But um, what we're talking about today is this: BG on the scene in Minneapolis with Jake Lang um, doing his thing, and this is pretty big news of today. There's a big protest in Minneapolis, and it sounds like a lot of stuff. So, where should we start with this?
This clip pretty much, at 14 minutes, you see like there's so many fights in this. There's like 50 fights. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Like I was watching it again. It's fascinating. At 14 minutes, you see somebody try to snatch from him, and the woman defends him. That redhead there.
I noticed her earlier.
We're only 14 minutes into this thing. That's like one of 50 altercations. It just continues to escalate.
Well, and so if you can hear it in the background is the Vanilla Ice song, Ice Ice Baby, playing. And this is at I guess Jake is acting as a counter protester to some of the ICE protests in Minneapolis. Is that right?
Yeah, at one time stamp here, he actually calls for like the National Guard to come in. I believe he even said to bring ICE in to Minneapolis. Fascinating narrative because he spent 4 years in jail from J6 and was pardoned by Trump. So he's activated. He's like happy to be out in the streets. He feels on top of the world here. I don't know what he was thinking. But if you look, these cameramen are operating as like he's surrounded by 50 cameramen the whole time. He has barely any supporters, but you watch, you can see people in the crowd actually are supporting him. There's this whole performance going on that I haven't quite figured out. At 17 minutes, he's trying to get up onto the wall, and there's another fight that breaks out.
Just gonna, well.
Get the fuck back!
We're being assaulted! We're being assaulted!
Get the fuck back!
Yeah, I think when I tuned in, he was already up on the window.
Yeah, that's when I first tuned in was about here, and I went back and watched it again.
This is just crazy, man. I mean, these are just.
See, but he has supporters undercover in the crowd instigating too, and I don't know that they're not all just working with him. It's very odd, the dynamic. It makes no sense.
Hey, you know what? I'm realizing I did a horrible segue into this, didn't I?
I don't know how you segue into it, man. Bring it. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know. I started in one direction and we just took a sharp left turn. Jeeps is keeping me in line, I guess. Stop watching it. We're not going to stop watching the garbage, but what I am thinking, because it's not garbage, it's today, right? This is what's happening in America. This is what our world has come to. I think I might drop the link. That way it's at least open. And if others want to join and discuss, or do you want to just go through these first? What would you prefer?
That's fine. I got like a lot of them are just, dude, I have I'm not asking to go to these yet, but at 44, 45, 30, 40 or 50, 25, at 51, 20, more fights. Every one of those. I've never seen so many fights. It makes no sense. It seems so staged. It's weird.
You think it's staged?
He's got, if you watch the footage, he has like the people like shoving this trash can lid in front of his face. They pretend to fight over that trash can lid several times for like 30 minutes. He never takes it from him. And it's almost like he's running defense by pretending to be, it's like controlled opposition. He's got that all through the crowd. You can see it.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to play a little bit.
Yeah, feel free to drop the link.
And I did drop the link for those who are present. And actually, Margot, I saw your question, and I'd be happy to block that account for you too. Because where did that go? Maybe it's already gone. Right.
Oh, so like I guess it might make sense too. Like here's the news article. Like this is the end result of all this, right? I got it in the backstage here. Like he already got like he got stabbed at this apparently, and this is all the build up to him allegedly getting stabbed and maybe a head injury. We don't really know what happened yet, but it's all part of like fueling this agenda, right? He's calling in ICE, like getting people out in the streets, getting them pissed off.
Yeah, he's clearly acting as an agitator.
Yes.
And it does seem there's a number of people, there's a small group there that is with him, supporting him. Do you think this was coordinated?
You see, if you watch the, we could probably just mute it because it's so bad in the background. He does say some things. I have a timestamp of that I want to catch, but you watch those cameramen, they always are in front of him and they're blocking and they're trying to get the best shot, allegedly, is what their cover story is. But there's 50 camera people and then they're keeping the crowd out.
Yes, that's what I noticed. The camera people almost acted as a barrier throughout this thing. Here, we got another guest here. Frank, welcome to you, brother.
Greetings, blessings, Jack. Good to see you, man.
Hey, much love. You jumping in with any thoughts yet?
No, I'm just here to watch.
Beautiful. Truthers, so should we play this or jump ahead to where were you saying?
Yeah, like that. So at 25:30, there's some fun theatrics. There's all these little fight scenes that keep breaking out over and over and over again. It's very strange. But they're never really trying to get anything from each other. Like they're struggling with this fight. They really wanted it.
Someone grabbed his microphone.
Yeah, but dude, what's really going on? He's laughing. He's like,
well, this is what I don't know the guy, but this is something that I thought positively of. In the midst of this, he does seem to be keeping his calm, keeping his cool, not trying to be angry and hostile, at least not coming across that way as much. But he's certainly being
at one point, like as he's leaving, he's yelling. Oh, it was on News to Share. I think I just saw. I didn't see it until I saw his clips. He was yelling like "white power" as he left. Like he just to stir shit up, though. Like it's not like he's actually like it's just stirring shit up.
Right. And
like, what does he think's going to happen going to a protest in Minneapolis after someone got shot by an ICE agent and saying the shit he's saying?
It's ridiculous. To me, it makes no sense. I mean, that's a guy who's looking for trouble. That's my opinion, though. Maybe I've just got a poor opinion of it, but
and he's attacked softly this whole time. At no point does anybody really get that aggressive. It's like they're playing games with each other. Look, everybody's just shaking each other back and forth. The guy just shaking the cameraman for no reason. And he's like, "Hey, guy," he's like, "Hey, stop it. Why are they fighting? Nobody knows." They stop though.
Well, and there's a lot of noise trying to drown him out. And here, what's next?
There's all those fight scenes. Oh, at 30:45, there's a sound clip on it. This is
Okay.
one of those clips. Like they get so clear when he says this. Send the National Guard. And look at this woman behind him just softly putting her hand in his face the whole time, and he's laughing as he pushes it away. What is actually happening there? But he says, they clear as day, send in the National Guard. They made sure that got heard.
That is bizarre. But I saw people throwing stuff at him, and I mean, that's decent sized turnout, man.
Look how many cameramen, 30 cameramen. Look at the circle of cameramen. All of those are cameramen right there. Look at holding up the cameras. What is that? Why are they there filming him? Why are they all fixated on him? It's so weird.
Here, this is something I'm observing. We live in a world where people are pretending to live, and entertainment is the norm. And so people are out there being entertained by this. I mean, I seriously think that's what's happening. They're not treating this like it's real life. It's all just a show. Hey, Landry, how are you today, my friend?
Doing good. Is the audio horrible?
No, not bad at all. Thank you.
Not bad. All right. It's good. I think you're right, though, about what you said. It is entertainment. A lot of these people, I feel like they don't have any action in their lives. Maybe it's similar to what brings people to the internet in a lot of ways, but I mean, they won't talk to you. I've had like 3 different times I try to go out, just like have a conversation as an objective third party, and they just have no interest. They're told not to talk to the media, but obviously I'm not the media, or no, they have their own media people that they designate. Other than that, you can't talk to them. So I think you're right. And I think Truther Cop's also right that there is a sort of theatrical, not staged, but played up element to it.
Yes. Hey, I don't know if I should say this or not, but what you're saying is partly what I participated in too. When the veterans got together and we went on, when we went to protest here. Actually, you do have some sound issues. Thank you. When the veterans back in June, when the veterans got together to demonstrate for the parade and Donald Trump's birthday and stuff, there was people who had been prepared in the group for media. And I actually don't think I was supposed to talk to the media, but I ended up talking to the media, obviously. And so being on the other side of that, Landry, I could see that. You show up and there's people that are saying, hey, yeah, not me. Maybe talk to this guy or that one. But it does make sense too, because if you're going to get people out there, not everyone is going to be able to articulate what the reason is. And the national news media has done a good job of making people look stupid, right? Grab people out of the crowd who aren't able to articulate their feelings and why they're really there clearly. And then it makes a side look dumb. But this is the world of today, man.
You can mute it, but look at like 49.
Okay.
Or actually, we can start at 48. He says he needs a police escort. He kind of says this. But like, look at the fake fighting as we get into this, because they are pretending like they want to take things from each other, but they never take them. This stick is getting waved around as just a prop. It's just a prop. It's doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, he did get hit by that stick at one point. And he tried to say there was blood on his hand from one thing I saw. So the guy there with the trash can, is he with him or not with him?
Exactly. He's like blocking for him by pretending to be against him. And they clearly get along. They do this whole bit for 30 minutes. Like, are you okay, man? And at one point, the red hair. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Yes. I'll watch this. There's proof of this, right? Like in a moment here, actually.
Should I turn it up or just?
At 48 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about this Jake Lang, but he's clearly putting himself out there.
Oh yeah.
Fuck ice.
This is just not how these things go. It's such a trip because who's recording? Is it attached to this guy? Or is there a separate person who's not on camera?
EG on the scene who was.
Yeah.
We've covered him before here.
Yeah, it's someone else. Someone else is doing.
He's that close to them, and they're cool with it.
Yeah, yeah. He was filming Jake Lang in DC on January 4th. They were together in DC already, filming together.
All right, we're almost.
These people will jump me and murder me. We need a police escort to leave. Nazis are welcome. Police escort. These people will jump me and murder me. We need a police escort to leave. Nazis are welcome. I'm not going in that crowd. I'll be killed. I hear you.
And so this whole, like, again, that who's the other guy behind them, like pretending to yell at him. So then at 40, like it's weird.
He's saying Nazis aren't welcome, and I mean,
what is that trash can lid, dude? How? Come on.
It's a prop. It's used as a shield to block him by looking like he's protesting against him. He's blocking him from being hit by items while pretending to be against him.
It's too creative to be. I don't know. I just don't see that shit in the real world.
Hey, right here.
yeah, that's what I thought. He got hit in the head with it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So 5149 is proof that these guys are actually working together to me, because like they're not actually against each other at all.
Oh, her hair's just caught in the.
When you realize he stops to help her. They're not against each other. They're working together.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. Well, that was to save a lady in distress. First I thought he was pulling her hair, but then it looked like it just got caught on the Velcro of his jacket. All right, so
at 103 40 is the dramatic exit where today's events occur.
You'll have to be in up there about an hour. Oh, that's great.
after this track, this anger doesn't really show what happened. Too well. Hear everybody will be going on about it this week, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a lot of talk, and like you had mentioned to me earlier, I'm sure the White House will have some opinions on this too. Maybe not the individual, but certainly the bigger picture on this. And actually, since he was, who knows? I wonder if it'll be curious to see what is brought out from all of this. Here, so now they kind of disappear in the crowd. Anything else?
Yeah, not after this, really. Like, news to share probably has better clips of this what happens afterwards. It's actually
Okay.
Yeah, he's right. Like, he happens to be there when he's getting hit and shit.
News to share.
This one just goes on, and they fight, and there's so many.
This one?
Yeah, the other one I sent you. You just posted a highlight reel that maybe click through it. I don't have timestamps.
Yeah, this is the one that was premiering when you shared it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hey, actually, in that other one, we didn't go to. We can skip ahead on some of this because I forgot. They get out there and there's all sorts of crazy crap going on, man.
Oh yeah, it's endless. It's nonstop. People chasing each other around for like an hour and 3 hours.
That's what it looked like. Running down the street, chasing each other, running through buildings. Oh yeah, this one. They tried pulling him out.
Stop! Wait, let them go! Let them go! Hey, pull over! Pull over! Pull over!
No, I see that one.
Leave it! Get out of here! Leave it off! Get out of here! No! Y'all just let him leave! It's not working! Hey! You don't know him! Hey, let him out! Let him out!
I mean, just absolute craziness. This is the state of our world, man. This just saddens me. I mean, and really, I suppose it's not as bad as it could be, right? There's not as much violence as there could be, but this is just nuts.
There's like one cameraman for every 2 people or 3 people. Like, the camera ratio is crazy. Everyone's just there for attention and just whatever. It's weird, man.
Well, the camera has become a tool of defense and prosecution, I guess, a tool of defense and a weapon. Because you get the right footage. Does Jack realize what TC is even pointing out? Why do you ask? I mean, what makes you wonder? What makes you doubt? Am I missing something, Truth or Cop?
No. Well, maybe I could like continue. Well, my main point would have been like because I didn't get to it, I guess, but like we talked about it before. The narrative being pushed here is this J6 people who were had the system the federal government used against them are now basically they have a role model to be like, to push for the federal government to be used against their political opposition. It's just this back and forth pendulum swing of like more authoritarianism at some point. But then you have these fake actors in the street pushing whatever. I don't know. I can't figure out what's going on here. I don't. That's why I'm talking. What's going on? What is this?
Yeah. And, there are some of these other, there's the debrief.
Oh,
Cam
yeah. That might be worth clicking through. But that article in the back, too, I would just pull like this. You can see the article on, I shared it in the backstage. NBC News, what they've covered on this.
So from NBC News, January 6th provocateur says he was stabbed at the pro-ICE Minneapolis rally. The event was held amid heightened tensions in the city following the killing of Renee Nicole Good by an ICE officer earlier this month. Well, in making the news, organizer of the March Against Minnesota Fraud. That's what he was saying in the beginning, talking about the fraud. That's what I heard him pointing out was the Minnesota fraud. So,
yeah, and then he's doing like the white power stuff, and there's a Jewish article where he's like, but Higbee is interesting because to me he just starts to soften the ridiculousness of this narrative because what I just saw is plainly ridiculous, but they're going to simplify it in these crazy. Oh, Jay Sixer was stabbed at pro-ICE rally. He was the rally. Apparently, there was no rally. He was the rally. Like what rally?
Yeah, right. What rally? It was him. He was a function. And here, they start out a right-wing provocateur who was pardoned for charges tied to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol says he was stabbed during a pro-ICE rally outside Minneapolis City Hall on Saturday. I just got stabbed today in Minnesota, Jake Lang said in a post on X, alleging he was attacked by a counter-protester. NBC News could not independently verify his claim, and Lang did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So, okay. I don't want to read the whole thing, but what it seems to be is not just him, but perhaps using the leverage he leveraged I don't want to mischaracterize it because it could simply be just from the motivation, right? From the past experiences, he was a part of the January 6th thing, spent time in jail, received a pardon from the president. That might help you feel a little bit justified, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like a useful idiot that they propped up, boosted his ego. You're out of prison now. Go do whatever you want, buddy. It's like he was hosting a rally, but no one showed up. Nobody was openly supporting him other than that redhead, and then agents in the crowd that are yet to be determined. So what was actually happening? Cam Higbee, like I said, you could click through it. I didn't get any timestamps, but all of that was fascinating. He's softening the narrative to start to make it make sense. Like he's like pushing the mainstream talking points, they what they did was ridiculous to him. Like, I don't support what he did, but it was ridiculous.
That might have been what he was saying. For those who are interested, I will try and put all these links in the description later. For those who are interested, but there's plenty of news out there about this stuff too. Anything? What else?
It's an endless rabbit hole, really, man. It's just like, and then I'm like, normally I don't pay attention to it, but like I saw it happening. Like I was like 30 minutes before it happened. I was like, dude, this is not going to end well. This guy's like surrounded in Minneapolis by 1,000. What is this? And we talked about him earlier this month. What's up, Frank?
Now I'm curious. I didn't really get the setup or the backstory. Is there something I'm missing? Because it's kind of hard to parse through like the ideas being discussed without really knowing what's going on.
Thank you, Frank. There's a lot of pieces. The big thing is earlier this week, there was that woman who was shot by the ICE agents in Minneapolis. Did you see about that, Frank?
Oh, yes, I did. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, since then, there's been a lot of protests and a lot of activity with ICE there in Minneapolis. And so this was a counter protest against that. In other words, in support of the president and ICE and all this. So I think that's about it. I mean, it's the guy involved, the main character there that we were watching. He was one of those who was at the January 6th event. He spent time in jail. He got a pardon. Now he's out here being a provocateur again.
Not only him, but a lot of those cameramen were also there on J6. So,
oh, I'm sure. Hey, welcome to you, Paul. Truth or Judge, how are you today?
Greetings, Mr. Talcott. The psyops are ramping up again, right on time. Is Jack breaking up for you guys a little bit from here and there, or is that on my end?
not from me.
Like visually, I'm saying, not audibly.
Oh, yeah, he is. Normally that happens on my end.
All right, because my shit's been a little bit haywire lately, but yeah, man, it just reeks right on time. You know, like we're approaching that 100-year anniversary of the first depression, which is a setup. 2029, 2030. If I have that date right, we're approaching the 250th year, I believe, at the exact same time of the empire. Right? They say the average empire lasts 250 years before it's destroyed. And yeah, just really reeking of the left and right, playing both sides off against the middle, right?
That's what's happening. What do you got going on there, Landry?
Just kept watching like Joe Cool, you know. Hey, I think that I might have met you in 2019, Paul.
Where was that at?
In Colorado, at an event. It was like a anti-mask event in Denver. It was a march. After the march, there was this little speech like segment where people could go up and give 3 to 5 minutes. And there's this guy in the video who looks kind of like you. Said, I think it could have been you.
Yeah, I was there. I was actually on local news because I guess they found me to be an interesting looking character.
You were there that day, 2019?
I was there for a handful of them, man, until I started to realize that a lot of these folks are right wingers and they're co-opted and they're with the military and the police. And they want statute, policy, and code to run everybody's life because the damn leftists are going to take over everyone, right? So yeah. I attempted to talk to both sides. I attempted to get them together, and both sides.
Did you watch me give a speech?
Oh,
you were in the audience.
It's possible, but I have no.
What are the odds?
Memory of that.
It's, you know what? It could be
divine.
It could be divine. Thank you. Yes. Because what are the odds? I mean, I've been asking myself that with a number of things. How the hell did this happen? Even recently, too, I've actually, Landry, there's something going on with your audio. I'm going to mute you. So thank you. I've noticed recently, maybe I'm reading too much into it. That's a possibility, but I have seen names and faces from my past that I hadn't thought about in years. Names and faces from my past have been showing up over this past week. So might be against the odds, Landry. Maybe you and Paul did cross paths in the past sometime.
Well, just imagine like because actually I had the screen pause. I was just going back and looking at old footage. I was like, oh my God, wait a minute. There's no way. And I had to slow it down. And I was like, dude, it can't be. Because it's just like a pan by or a slow pan, you know? That's crazy.
I'm an extra in your life or vice versa. Yeah, man. That was I've always kind of been oriented a certain way, but that was a couple years into like the beginning of really kind of stepping out and trying to get involved and kind of inserting myself into these groups to try to understand what the deal was, where do they come from and why the division with the other side.
Did you ever get caught up with the there's some people, they were cool guys, but they were the Goyim TV guys. They were just a little too anti-Jew for me to get, cozy with, because that was their whole thing. I was like, well, what else do you guys believe? No, that's it. Just the Jew.
There's a bunch of groups that start to, it's like piranhas, right? They start to get try to get a hold of people. All gas, no brakes interviewed me at one of those events. They wound up not using it because because I wasn't. They couldn't use me in a way that they wanted to use me for. Right. That's when I started to realize more about what a lot of this media is about. Right. They want they want you to come across a certain way so they can use you for content and to portray you as part of something bigger that needs to have something done. So yeah, there was a group of those people. The whole well, I just presume a lot of these folks are feds or fed tied. I'm that guy, so I don't usually wind up.
Well, that's what I thought. We were in the fed group. I thought me and Jack met on FedLife.com.
Anything's possible. we're 3-4 years in, and Jack still can't get me in private beyond a certain point, right? I will answer him here and there, or I think I sent him a message a couple months back, but yeah, I try to do my own thing and work with what comes forward that makes sense to me. And, if things don't align, they don't align. I'm not saying Jack doesn't, because I think that there is something potentially there, as he pointed out earlier. We're all kind of drawn to these spaces for similar reasons, whether we know it or not. And I think that's kind of being revealed as time goes on. But yeah, I had that group, they came up to me, they go, "Hey, we believe in monarchy." And I go, "Well, that's not where I'm at." And they go, they're like, "Well, why don't you come speak with us and for us and let's go hang banners about the Jews?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see you guys later." Just a lot of
on the overpass, dude. Like, yeah, it's wild.
All of these different opportunities for us to turn. And it is amazing some of the paths that people take. But I've been given the big picture a lot of thought lately. and looking at all of the evidence. I mean, I said I wasn't going to talk about the major reforms, but guys, if we look at the world today, someone's got to do something. And what I'm seeing is it is so out of control. I believe the solution is we're going to have to find some conscious people to gather together who are willing to take on these problems of the governments, problems of the economics, the problems of the wars and divisions. Because the government ain't doing it.
So is there a possibility that the ICE is like in cahoots with the anti-ICE people?
Not directly. Oh, go ahead, Jack, if you want to.
No, I was just processing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that because that's, there's a fine line here between like, conspicuous speculation versus paranoia. And I think that a lot of this stuff is indirectly connected. They don't directly know. They're kind of like Jack just said, right? It's the mirror version of that. He goes, we need to find conscious people to do X, Y, Z. Their perspective is we need to find unconscious people to get them to do X, Y, Z. So we don't do it. They do it. And then they can take the blame and then we can play the other side off of that side. Right. So it's obvious that they're building a police state. They want centralized militaries, central banking systems. They want complete and total control. And in order to get there with a common law nation, they need a series of enemies, right? So they're using illegals now to set the precedent, and all the right-wing conservatards are going right along with it on time because their masters know exactly how to manipulate them, right? If you do anything illegal, then we're going to come pick you up and take you away to essentially a modern-day gulag, right? And what I keep explaining to these people is everyone does illegal shit, whether they know it or not, because there's so many damn statutes, policies, and codes. It's not possible to live a full life and not do something illegal somewhere at some time. So yeah, I don't believe they know it. I think they're just there to get money and to get them damn dirty Mexicans out of here, but they're being used, right? They're being
I don't even
duped and
believe
being
that.
used.
I mean, I think there's so many Mexican cops and like, families who, that they work, especially here in Texas, they work with the police department, and then there's, siblings and cousins and aunts. They're all illegals, and they have a house right next door. They're not really going after those people. They're probably going after a very specific small subset of groups. But the one thing is they're at least overemphasizing it in Minnesota. Was that where George Floyd happened?
I think it was, wasn't it?
What are the odds of that? It's like Minnesota again.
Right.
And
Exactly.
those same streamers come out of the woodwork, and they'll do the same things again. But these streamers are like all like, dude, they're all there in Minneapolis suddenly. It's like they all knew it was going to happen. I don't know if it's like a collective
I think what you're
intention.
seeing now happens over and over again on every land with every people, where they're divided and conquered, and they essentially are driven to civil wars and revolutionary wars, and it's all spiritual on the highest level, right? It's principalities in high places who are using willing dupes to carry out one side of an agenda that's at least a dual-sided agenda. It's a theme that I see repeating over and over in history.
They
Can get the leftists and the right wingers to fight each other. It's that much easier at some point to come in with a third option and restore law and order, right? With a new system. And I think that's exactly what is being created right now. It's already to the point where you almost can't undo it and turn it back, right? Because now everybody on the left and right thinks it's their job to fight the other side instead of uphold the law and exercise rights and secure American freedom, right? It's American idealism. That's out the window on both sides, right?
They had
We're just
everybody
trying to
going
figure
so
out.
bad. By the end of that footage, like the last 3 fights, the leftists were fighting. They didn't know. They were like, "He's one of us. He's one of us." They were hitting each other, dude. They didn't know who they were hitting. And they're like, "How do we know?"
Yeah, we didn't pull that one up, did we? But you mentioned that one
I
too.
forgot all about that until you were talking about that. I was like,
Dude,
oh my God.
I went inside the right wing and inside the left wing groups, and I asked them a series of questions, and it turned out that like at least 8 out of 10 answers, they all wanted the same things. And the craziest part about it is when I tried to tell the other side that the other side wants the same things as you, they just have a different way of getting there. They told me, "You're a libtard. you're a conservatard," right? They would not listen to this fact that both sides essentially want the same things because they've been so programmed that the other side's the reason for why they didn't get those things, right?
It's a hard position to be in the middle. I mean, it's really emotion, negative emotion, positive emotion. It's what feeds the algorithm. It's what feeds people's, passion. People, they want to target. And when we're like, "Oh, they're both shitty," they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" But it also confuses people, right? Because when you think about group dynamics, safety, if we have a group, the group is only safe if we know where we stand. And so we have to make sure it's a very clear out group. That's why the political thing works so well throughout.
Right, but the out group is the one group that both sides are told not to go after or hold accountable, right? I won't use the term go after, but hold accountable. You would think that the communist, Marxist, fascist would be the target for both sides, right? To hold accountable and to create a change. But apparently not so, right?
This left-right divide. I mean, to me, it seems pretty obvious once you see it. The entire idea of politics, it works for the oppressor. Politics does not work for the masses because politics creates divisions. And as
Well,
long
that's
as
why this place was supposed to be a republic and has degenerated into democratic corporatism. Because it just seems over and over again that the same folks are behind it and playing both sides against the middle. And in order to do that and create new world order, they got to have enemies on the bottom on both sides, and they have to have dissenting point of views and an outcry of something needs to be done. Right? That's why statism is never the answer. But yeah, we could talk about this shit till we're blue in the face. Unfortunately, it seems the majority has to have economic collapses, slavery and genocide, civil wars, loss of livelihood in order to get their head out of their ass. Quite frankly,
This guy I met, he's got a real convincing argument about how all the good guys are actually getting control back. I would love to hear you guys talk to him, because I can't question the guy. He's too positive.
Hey, Paul, in your opinion, when was the great split? Like, when would you say the Republic really degenerated so far from the original idea? Like, would you say there was a turning point at some point? And like, what did that look like? Like, because we've been under democratic corporatism for a long time, but how long? Like, when did we truly lose the Republic?
I think the whole race has been bred over hundreds and thousands of years to accept this idea of authority and this idea of a state, a nation state, and all of this corporatist process and procedure, right? Like, the conservatives should be under God, with God-given rights, but now if you're not born on a certain piece of land with an imaginary border and you don't have the right papers, well, then you're not entitled to that, right? So this is thousands of years from one nation to the next that's been corrupted and co-opted and bought into this idea of leadership and authorities, dictation and being kept safe, right, by the supposed elite. So I don't think it's one moment. I think it's a continual process of breeding and almost self-selection.
there's an opportunity to take the broken pieces, to work with what we've got and to transform it in the individual. I mean, I've been learning to do this in my own life, right? My life fell apart, lots of broken pieces, lots of things that aren't perfect, but it's what I've got. If we can work with what we've got, we can make changes and we can do things differently. And this division, right, this us versus them, it has been going on long before we were born. But the reality is we are all this time. That's kind of the message of my thumbnail and stuff today, is time is who we are. And we're all sharing this time together. The people we like and the people we don't like. I think Landry froze. There he is.
Sorry, my bad.
No.
I was very focused. That's all it was. I was not frozen.
I do believe there is something, because I've spoken about in the past that you just talked about. There's a fine line there between the QAnon white hat tards who don't want to do anything different but expect some government agents to do it all for them, versus an actual cosmic movement that is underway here. And I think that I and many others have been called to be a part of that with the legal lawful idea, right? So there is something to that there are people now rising to the occasion and realizing and learning that we do have a say, we do have a certain amount of power, and a certain will here will be done, one way or the other. And of course, we're going to have the tests and challenges along the way. So yeah, I mean, I've seen it. It's far and few between, but there's still enough to justify, so to speak, the recognition of that movement, right? You've seen a lot of folks who are now saying, I'm not going to cooperate, I'm not going to comply. Jack's an example of it. He goes, I don't believe that I need registration and whatever else, and I'm going to ride around, and whatever the fuck it's going to be, right? This constant corporatist legalist appeal to false authority that we have to pay other people for a right to use our own property is where it all, I think, starts and ends, right? And that's right out of the Marxist credo, the abolition of private property. So I think you got a bunch of isms all at once, attempting to try to take over lands and peoples who, at their core and their spirit, are uploaded by God, whatever that is, to be free, right? And to know they have rights and to not be dictated to. And the worse it gets, the more that spirit cries out for liberation, it seems. So it's almost like one needs the other and the other needs the one. It almost works together, even though it seems opposing.
And to further illustrate that a little bit, like Jack, what might that look like? Would it look like a revisitation of the American spirit and the American Republic, or how do you see those things playing out in the future?
For myself, I honestly believe that the solution for the nation is the solution for the world. We unite together and we figure out how to make things work together. I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about in the live stream yesterday. I believe it's the fulfillment of the prophecies of the new kingdom coming forth, where the symbolism and whatever it turns out to be, I don't know. I mean, I got criticized because I leave some room for myself to be wrong. I don't claim to know everything, and I don't.
You must know.
Huh? I must know.
You must know. Yes.
Right. But it makes sense to me that if the plan is for the return of Christ, that means it's the return of love. Love rules this world. And it's not a fake love, it's a love where the truth reigns supreme. The fulfillment of prophecy, it makes sense that mankind, in our ignorance, when we didn't have the printing press, when we didn't have the ability to communicate or to share knowledge with each other, we were in the dark. And in the dark, we developed the way that we did. But eventually, in our lifetime, I mean, in my lifetime, for sure, the development of the internet, right? We've got worldwide communication, worldwide logistics. We are all connected to each other. Go to every grocery store. We've got products from all around the world. We're not separated from anyone. So if we just accept that fact that, hey, this world is for all of us, not just the billionaires, not just the citizens, not just the taxpayers, right? This world is for all of us. I think it could become pretty cool, man. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If we actually had free markets, right? Markets where there was abundance brought in, and hey, if you need it, you take it. We could do that. We could easily do that.
Yeah, there's so much waste by allocating by developing closer communities. There'd be less waste but people would have to be interested in where the food's coming from. It's like
all right, you're right.
At 2:18 is that timestamp in that video if you want to watch it, where they beat up that one guy and they're like, he's with us, but he gets dragged off in a police van. I don't know if he might have been an undercover cop, and I don't know, dude, because he was the only guy to get dragged off by the police.
Holy cows! Here, all right. Here, we'll pause for another fight.
Fight.
Just after this, I saw what you were talking about. I think.
I want to see the build-up.
So big.
That's all they ask. He's 1-5. Okay. He's 1-5. Okay, good. You all right, dude? You all right?
How would we know?
He's 1-5. How we know?
Gets dragged off by police right now.
I don't know. He's 1-5. I'm with them.
Wait, so like so theatrical.
Look, the cops are coming to sweep them up, dude. They're the only guy. That's the only guy that they came for all day.
But even that whole buildup.
All right, now pause it there, Jack, because that was a great dynamic that was just displayed. You know how everyone's talking shit on all the Somalis right now? And they're fraud, right? Because they petitioned the corporation to get some of that tax money you all keep giving over for Ukraine and Israel and wars around the world. Those damn Somalis using the system the way you all have created it. Well, what happened when they hopped out of the van and tried to take one of the Somalis away? The whole fucking town came out into the street. They all came out into the street and they told them, you better get the fuck away from him. Pull that video up. You want to see what community looks and sounds and feels like? That's it. Right there, you just watch these people say, he's one of us. As soon as them cops hopped out of that van, he wasn't one of us no more. It was him and the court, right? So right there is a perfect example of how your rights and freedoms go right out the window. Bunch of fake-ass folks acting like their community, and when it comes time to deal with the tests and challenges, you're on your own, bud. Right? What happened to one of us? So say what you want about the Somalis. They know how to stand together, and they know how to stand their ground, and they know how to let thugs and authoritarians know if you're going to fuck with one of us, you're going to fuck with all of us. And that's kind of part of the backbone of having a stable and functional community, right? Is men especially who stick together, right? And if one goes, we all go. We don't have that anymore, unfortunately.
Absolutely. I'd heard stories. Go ahead, Frank.
I was just going to say, we don't have public executions either. Isn't Somalia one of the countries where they still publicly execute people? Iran and Saudi Arabia are the three.
We absolutely have public executions. There are many states where the death penalty reigns and folks are killed on camera. And there's a whole
27 of them. They're not public, and most have put a stay on execution, haven't they? Like, they don't actually go through with them. I think California hasn't done any executions in quite a few years.
No, since Trump has been president, they've been rolling through the executions again.
Have they really? Wow, that's sad.
I haven't. I'm saying that without specifics, but I do recall hearing many. I heard of several executions that have happened, and some of them sounded unjust to me. You know, when I heard what I heard, I didn't think the guy deserved to be executed. But this is America, right? Capital punishment is still legal. And actually, that brings me back to one of these questions I'm wondering. When are we going to address the legal murders? Everyone freaks out about the murderers on the corner, but what about the murderers in the in uniforms?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not advocating that we turn this place into Somalia or, you know, really vice versa. I mean, you know, any land you go to has this cancer, right? You know, by any name, there may be different names and different facets of it, but you know, every day somewhere at some point, you have a public servant using their emergency lights to stop people on the side of the road and potentially gunning them down. So I don't know how much more of a public execution you could have. I mean, you know, YouTube's full of examples of people who, because they don't cooperate or have the right tone, get shot in the driver's seat of their vehicle on the side of the road. So it's just official public executions, right? We've got at least a couple thousand of them yearly going on in the middle of the road, and a bunch of onlookers sitting there going, well, if he would have just did what he was told, he might not have got gunned down.
That's right. And many more so become so disenfranchised and robbed by the government that they don't have any reason to live anymore anyway. So yeah, you're correct about that.
These scum beat old women, right? It ain't even just we're going to go after the young, big, strong men because we want to make sure everybody's in their place. They beat up old women on camera and fracture their skull and all the rest of it, man. You know, doing what I do for the longest time, I almost had to stop looking at it because it would just create so much vitriol in me watching these armed thug scum go around town and beat up on people, and instead of doing public service, treating people like they're their slaves, right? So, yeah, man, I mean, that's the reality of it.
You know what you're saying, Paul. I've seen a lot of that too. And I think part of that is the development of the electronic age. Everyone's got a camera and everyone's got access to share their media. And just this week, I've done a good job, in my opinion. I've done a good job of staying away from some of that real emotional footage and stuff, whether it's the police violence or the unsolved murders, stuff like that. My younger days, I hadn't had an attraction to that, but I feel like I've been doing good of avoiding it until recently. Just this last week, I found myself in my algorithms and stuff. I'm getting these other videos. And I'm like, holy shit. I guess the point is something I realized in my own experience. Our awareness of scale is pretty off as individuals, as humans. It's hard for us to consider and imagine a quantity such as a billion or a quantity such as a trillion. Those things are just so out there. It's hard for us to understand. And if you consider it, there's allegedly 8 billion of us on this planet. So that means there is all sorts of crazy lives being lived all around the world. And I had no idea how sheltered I had been because I never faced, real out of control police officers, or I never experienced a lot of the things that other people have dealt with. But it doesn't mean it's not there, right? And Paul, what you're saying, there is so much footage of these corrupted people, whether they're in uniform or out of uniform. It's corrupted people that are making this world into hell.
And it's on both sides, really, because these thugs in uniform couldn't do what they were doing if there wasn't mass compliance by the supposed citizenry, right? And then a finger pointed. I've been on multiple states when they arrest me, and I've had them tell me, "Thank you for your service" to them while they're taking their fellow countrymen away, right? They thank them. "Thank you for your service." Policy enforcement, who were supposed to be public servants and peacekeepers. We went from peacekeepers to public servants to policy enforcement. So that should tell you everything you need to know about the gradual march toward fascism. So, yeah, if the people around me would have said, "Hey, that's wrong," or "What did he do? Why are you taking this man off?" If there's no victim on the other side, we might have more rights and freedom secured. But no, they not only don't do that, they thank them. I must be an Antifa swine who needs to be dealt with.
Real quick. Landry, I'm going to pull that up in just a moment, but something you were saying earlier, I'd heard stories about back in you mentioned it too, we're coming up on the 100-year anniversary of the Great Depression. I heard stories about times during the Depression where the community would get together. The bank tries foreclosing on someone's land and the community comes out, tells the sheriff, "Nope, not happening," right? I don't think those were the norm, but I know that I do believe that is the answer for us, is to unite so we can overcome these divisions, but not unite to fight. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, that's included somehow, right? They would tar and feather the tax collector.
Right? Well, and that makes sense too. You don't want the tax collector there.
Is that you, Paul?
Can you see
Yeah,
that?
that's me.
You did cross
crazy.
paths.
I was even more obese.
No.
Look at
At
that,
that
dude.
time.
Look
That's
at
a
that.
Look at the
beautiful
camera.
smile.
That's
Hey.
crazy.
I don't even remember that. Where was that?
Denver.
Yeah, I don't
No,
remember
it
that.
might have been Boulder. It might have been Boulder.
That half shell. Oh yeah, I remember. I went up to Boulder. It was interesting. I had conversations with some adolescents, and it was so funny because they were more conscious and aware, and just kind of because they weren't uploaded with the programming. They're like, why are both sides doing this and this? And then I go, guys, keep this perspective, right? Don't get uploaded with the propaganda and the programming, and you'll start to see clearly about what this all is.
And this is what's crazy to me is how I just recently went around and started like asking strangers if they're in the Matrix, and I was like, if you start looking and kind of joking with them, like if you start looking around, and things start to you start to get these bizarre circumstances, and then I go back to this video I've seen 1,000 times, and I'm like, holy crap! Paul's there.
Oh yeah, that's Dave right there too. I'm just realizing Dave is there. I had a few people with me.
I had the with me.
NPC the game there, his donation, that's worth about 50 cents. Those Taiwan dollars aren't very big.
Hey,
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
No, you know what? It's appreciated. NPC, thank you, brother, for the contribution and the leadership. 72 people watching, no one donating yet. Leading the way. Thank you, brother. Dude, that is okay. So, Paul, Landry, it appears you guys' paths might have been intended, right?
Paulie,
Jack, I gave Landry the speech. What we're going back now almost a year already. Time flies around here, but I gave him the speech, not even knowing this. That I'm just going with what I believe. It's very Talcottian in its own way. That we're all brought here to these spaces to focus on certain things, and instead of focusing on those things, we wind up arguing, fighting, playing to the crowd, who's going to be the most dysfunctional, who's going to get over on who, a bunch of power games and a desperation for cash. All while in the background, these legal tender debt notes are losing their purchasing power and the crowd is being enslaved. So it's obvious why we're here. It's obvious that we didn't find ourselves coincidentally in these places by accident, right? There is an overarching cosmic purpose for us at this time. And as you know, I stand on the principle that a big part of it is teaching the citizen slave the difference between legal and lawful. It used to be being an American and grown man meant you could do whatever you wanted to do as long as you didn't cause loss, injury, and harm. Now we have thousands of codes to follow or they're going to put you in a box. That needs to change. And the only way it's going to change is when people understand the original law of the land codified in the Constitution, pursuit of happiness, consent of the governed, right? All of these archetypal foundational principles. There has to be a resurgence of that understanding.
Yes. I think the solution is going to take a lot of different pieces to come to being, but just what you said, we've got a nation where, think about it, these politicians, these legislators, their job is to create laws, right? So what are they going to do? They're going to pass all these laws, whether they're necessary or not, because it justifies them and their job. And at so many levels of this too. And the downside to this system, it truly is oppressive because the authority gets to selectively choose which rules are enforced, right? We like to think it's fair, but it's not.
Well, we're back to the idea of the common, I don't want to use the term enemy, but the common problem. The common problem for all of us is the folks creating on paper statute, policy, and code to control all of us and regulate all of us. It's anti-American. So that's what the left wing and right wing should be equally focused on. And at one point, each of them were. The farther you go back in history, the more you start to see the left wing and the right wing were basically, at least at one point, aligned in that until we, Frank asked earlier, until they created United States Corporation and reformed this place into a democratic representation endeavor of corporatism with presidents, vice presidents, and treasurers and all the rest of it. But yeah, historically, that's what the left wing and right wing are all about, right? Liberalism, classical liberalism, the ability to do whatever we want without being told what to do. It's completely morphed into the antithesis of that now.
Well, these people are doing what they want without being told what to do. And I mean,
no, they are being told what to do.
Well,
How
Jack, again, this is, I get it, because it's a perfect devil's advocate perspective, right? Because they'll say, well, Paulie boy, if you did away with all the statute, policy, and code, we're going to have chaos, aka anarchy. Again, there was a qualification there, without causing loss, injury, or harm, or a breach of the peace. So that's not them and what they're doing, right? They're doing more democracy in a different form, because democracy just means mob rule. Right. So that I'm not advocating for mob rule, chaos by force.
No.
Yeah, and maybe the common thread with a lot of these people is they all have Brown's boy as a casting agent.
No. Brown's boy's been he's elevated in status, right? Because he predicted my employer before it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, with shocking accuracy. And I mean, so what is that? Is that what they call profit? So Brown's boy, and I hate to say it.
I know. Brown's boy could be a prophet. He's predicting the future and stuff. But what Paul said regarding writing all those rules, what came to my mind is they are a necessity. All those rules are a necessity, and the enforcement and the policing, that is a necessity for people who can't govern themselves. So how do we convince the people that self-governance is the only way?
That is the question.
That's what Jesus was teaching. It's what the Buddhas were trying to teach. It's what the major philosophers and the real, I don't know, the real intelligence has pointed to.
Yeah, there was a guy, doctor of Oriental medicine, about 30 years ago that attempted to endeavor to do this out of Los Angeles, and he wrote a new declaration of spiritual independence. But I think something like that, like a charter, a document, a type of mindset, it seemed like Paul would be the most suited to try to like bring us back to the original American Republic idea. And because I've always felt that it's one of the best ideas that we've come up with, it's not original, right? It comes from the old Republic, I guess, but it seems to be the right direction.
Yeah, it can't be these organizations can't be organizations. There can't be a head on the snake, right? If you make it about one man or one organization, they'll just cut the head off of it and the rest of the body will fall away, right? This has to be a contingent of individuals who are united with the spirit that God put there, and a conscience to know right from wrong, and a willingness to not comply. This way, we stand together as one, but individually we're united with one idea, right? You can't just take one person away and have the movement fall away, right? You take one away, there's 10, 50, 500, 5,000 in their stead. That's
Right.
what this
And
has to be.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but what does that look like? And I'm just pushing for the upshot because me for myself, I've always sought that type of higher guidance. And I know what it looks like at the individual level, but what does it look like at a movement level where like genuine steam can get behind it? Because essentially that seems like what Jack has been up to this entire time, trying to move towards that.
Well, it's actually kind of boring. It's not what everybody would expect, right? Like the majority of it is behind the scenes, on the ground, pushing papers, getting these people on record, giving them notice, and then dealing with them when they come, if they come, right? So just imagine all those people out there in the street making a hoopla, right? Ranting and raving, just going back to their abode and sending notice to the corporation of who and what they are, what they're going to do and not do, and the corporation being inundated overnight with thousands of affidavits that now have to be rebutted, right? The maxim of law is an affidavit unrebutted stands true. We don't have to be out in the street. We don't have to be fighting wars. We don't have to be clashing or resisting. We just have to put them on notice and stand on it, right? There's a good chance that they will just stop if enough people were to put them on notice, at least when it comes to us, right? The rest will be dealt with how they wish to be dealt with, right? As Jack just said, a population of folks who refuse to govern themselves and know what their rights are, or know what the law is, will be dictated to. There is no other way that it could be, because they're essentially children in the mind and heart, and not in a good way, because there is a positive side to that idea, being a child in the mind and heart to get in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, but what you're saying is part of my theory is that the system we have, the systems have broken the people. The systems profit from trauma, right? So the people are traumatized, and they're adult children, be it with the mentality, emotional intelligence of children, because, well, the development of the psyche was stunted through pain and problems.
And think about hospitals too, man. Everywhere you go, hospitals are the biggest, most beautiful buildings in the city.
Yeah. Hospitals and banks.
Yep.
That's what, I mean, the banks is what pisses me off. Go to any city and they're the biggest buildings. Those big buildings cost a lot of money. It's all a racket to keep us poor.
Yeah, Jack, just for a quick side note, what's really pissed me off one time, I went to one of the most ancient cities here in China, Dalian. It's a really old school, like Tartarian building. Their downtown is super beautiful. And there was about 25 banks in every old world building was controlled by the banksters. It was really disheartening.
It makes perfect sense, though. This is the world we were born into. The love of money is the root of all evil. And yet, holy shit. What came to mind just there is Donald Trump. His quote, "The dollar is king."
Well, Donald Trump is still on some level living between he's still living in the 70s or 80s, I think, in his mind, or is not willing to concede to what has become overwhelmingly obvious to anybody who's studied economics, right? That literally the dollar is not worth the paper it's printed on at this point when it comes to purchasing power.
Well, he ranks as like one of the top 200 wealthiest families in the world. So yeah, he's definitely up there.
Well, and what you just said, he knows the paper money is worthless, so he's going to the electronic money. He's making billions on his new electronic coins, right? Whatever it's called.
His son Barron, 19 years old, is worth 150 million in Bitcoin.
You know what that means? And where does 150 million in Bitcoin? I'm not good with numbers.
I have no idea. One.
I don't know. Joseph. I wonder if you're the Joseph I'm thinking of. Trump's the least of your worries, Jack. You think the politics go once he does? No. No, I don't, dummy. Don't assume that. You can't even figure out where to point your finger. That's you, Joseph. And I'm not sure if you're the guy I've got in my head right here. If you're the one who's been sending me emails and nasty shit, you probably got a drinking problem you need to address. I'm guessing that's your deal, but you seriously have an anger problem with me. And maybe that's not you. Maybe that's someone else named Joseph. Now I'm stuck on that comment. The politics won't go away until we fix the system, right? The systems are broken. And the broken systems allow immoral people to hold office. And I think, who's to blame? Who's to blame if immoral people hold office? Wouldn't that be the masses? Because the masses are the ones who put them in the office, right?
Well, this is the thing, right? And I think all of our lives echo this same one theme to a certain extent, that the greatest thing missing here at this time is personal responsibility and accountability. We have to stop giving our power away to certain people, places, and things, right? Whether it be addictions, the drugs, the alcohol, the food, poison food, right? It just all comes back home, right? To what self-governance and self-sustainability really means. Being as much in-house, right, inside job as you can muster, and get done.
Now, is there any chance that Trump is actually Elvis? To play devil's advocate here. Are you sure? All right.
No, I'm not sure, but I'd bet on the Antichrist before Elvis. That Donald Trump is the Antichrist before I'd bet he's Elvis. Is there
I'm glad
signs
that
that he's Elvis?
No, it's just people keep telling me he is. It's really, I find it funny, but a lot of people are dead set that it's true. So
Okay.
it's not just, I mean, people in my real life, you know, I brought it up as a joke to this guy and he was like, no, look at this picture on my phone. Look at this side by side. It's the same guy. I'm like, all right.
Actually, has any others noticed that when you look at people, there's like some generic prototypes that people fall into, right?
White guy, old white guy, bearded white guy, guru white guy.
Well, there's generic forms, and you see variations on these different forms. I noticed that a long time ago, so maybe there's a connection. We all have some similarities, and actually, that might be it. Elvis was in poor health, right? Donald Trump is not a healthy man by the looks of it or the sounds of it. I don't know. Hey,
I think that this nation, which is duped by a corporation, has gotten exactly the leadership that reflects who and what they are. Whether it's Joe Biden mumbling and shitting his pants, or Donald Trump on ephedrine just chugging down McDonald's and doing expansionism. I think it perfectly sums up the majority of the masses on both sides, who and what they are, how they live, and that's reflected in the supposed leadership, right? I think everything is as it's supposed to be, you know?
it is. There's a perfection to everything, I think.
Yeah, so it comes down to the question, then how do we weed our way through that and make something that has tangible effect for the betterment of the people at large, even though, like you said a moment ago, they probably don't deserve it.
We have to decouple, right? This is how I look at it, and what I've tried to do is not even focus on it. It's not a top-down solution; it's a bottom-up solution. So, the more we understand legal versus lawful, our rights, uphold the law, the more that we get in communities on the ground, try to get on the land, grow some stuff. Everything that I talk about that I've been trying to move toward, right? Whether it's had some tests and challenges, hiccups or not, I do so because I believe that is the answer. I wouldn't if I didn't, right? So we have to we can't fight this thing, we can't change it, we can't overthrow it. We have to decouple from it and become the solution as much as possible. And then other folks will take notice when we have the results to a certain extent.
I'm convinced whether it's it's the same application, whether it's a small level or the big level, it's community. And that community is only as strong as the trust and the bonds that are formed within it. Trust and bonds between people, those exist only with honesty. So if people become more honest with each other, I think we can connect with each other. I mean, someone did say this actually. How do you weed your way through? Be honest. Not just with yourself, be honest with yourself and others. And then with the practice of honesty, we can start seeing through the BS a little bit better, developing our spiritual gift of discernment. Holy cows, this thought just, our gift of discernment is lost when we're dishonest. Do you think that could be true?
Yeah, it makes sense. Or when we believe lies too.
That too. That was something I realized for myself. If I believe in lies, then I got to remember the lie. I got to remember the details. I got to remember everything that holds that lie together. But if I just rely on the truth, I don't have to remember as much. I think I took us from what you said, though, didn't I? But I
Yeah,
don't
we could
know,
always
guys.
conspire and launch a mastermind group to take over the world like they've done.
Will you join me? Let's do that.
Ab- Absolutely.
Let's do it. Because that's what I'm seeing. We've got incompetence. But Paul mentioned earlier the idea of leadership, and I'm a fan of leadership. I'm actually a fan of organization. Um, if you've got a group of people and you've got proper leadership and guidance, instruction, whatever, that group of people can accomplish far more than any single one. But it takes proper leadership. It takes someone willing to stand up and serve, to put the mission, to put the others above themselves. And we don't have that. We do not have that in the United States at all. Well, there might be signs of it, but
One philosopher might say, like, proper instruction motivates people. I heard that philosopher say that.
There it is there. We need a court document, Paul. Have you been working on it? PDF form. It makes people aware of their rights and lawful ways to proceed in this thing. Yeah. Some basic instructions for the layman.
I'm sure we already have that. I don't think that it takes my incarnation or, you know, representation in order to uh, go within oneself and go back in history to see the same themes repeating, right? I'm just an expression of consciousness and awareness to whatever degree. And
Yeah, but you did the
anything.
work. I haven't seen a document. Send me a bibliography at least. Where do I begin?
Listen, man, I'm at the point now where after having health challenges and just slugging through court and getting arrested over and over again and whatever else, that I've started to waver in certain ways. I've started to turn the corner where, for at least for a time, I'm like, I just want a peaceful and restful life. I just want to be able to wake up every day and do what I need to do and be okay, right? Instead of constantly having to be at war, right? So I guess the universe or my inner space has given me a look at kind of the other side, right? Um, and maybe that's just the tendency in life, right? You do what you do until that changes. It may change for a time or forever, and then, as Jack spoke about yesterday, other people pick up where you left off, right? So, um, yeah, I'm just being honest with myself and others, right? That over the past year or two, uh, just the whole ordeal has become so much that I almost just need and want to break from it all, right? And just get back to basics. Um, but I suspect, kind of knowing me and what's at my core, that it'll never completely go away and that there will be a resurgence. Um, when I'm feeling up to it, right, and ready to take on the task, because there's a lot that comes with it, man. It's not exactly fun to get pulled out of the car, once every 3 to 6 months, right, and have to go sit in a box at least for a few days, and watching people around me go for weeks at a time, months at a time. Uh, it's a lot, man. It's definitely a lot on the nervous system. So, um,
I sorry. Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. But what you said too, when it's time, that's within you. It's going to come back out. There's no denying who you are. On a segue though, I want to jump back. Joseph, maybe I jumped to the conclusion and maybe that wasn't you sending me those emails. Sorry for connecting that with you if it wasn't. But I do see I addressed the earlier comment. It does take a lot out of it can take a lot out of us, but Paul, I'm for all of us. This is our lifetime. Where is it going to lead us? I don't know. What I do know is the past has been preparation. We're not done. And that can be frustrating, and that can be kind of a burden to know that you're not done yet. But at the same time, if you realize a lot of the pressures and a lot of the burdens we carry around on ourselves, they're actually not necessary. I won't say everyone. In my past, a lot of the burdens and a lot of the problems I carried around for myself were not actually mine to carry. A lot of them were just malformed opinions or misplaced priorities, or even worse, misplaced faith. Because I had faith in problems. I had faith, actually, I had faith in the government. I used to have faith in the money system. I used to believe all the things that I believe in, all of the things I speak against today, you know. I don't know. This has been kind of a laid back, very mellow conversation. I do appreciate you guys with this. But I'm wondering, what should we do? I'm kind of feeling that completion energy already, but I don't want to be
Go with your
rude
gut.
either.
No, man, always go with the instinct. Trust your and your
Yeah, it's good magic. It's been a group of people that don't have to necessarily fill dead air all the time with their ideas. They can listen and reflect. It's very nice.
I agree. I appreciate it. And these conversations, hopefully, I think especially those of us on the panel, we've given these ideas some thought, right? The greater world, rights, freedom, principles. What's the path from this world? And I hope some of the folks who tune in, I know many folks who tune in give these things some thoughts as well. I hope there's some ideas shared. If anything, we can build off each other's ideas, hopefully. Because that is how we learn, right? We learn through each other. The truth is what is shared through us, and we grow with that, grow with the truth. With that truth, we can find greater grace. I think that's what happened for me, at least. And I'm still working on that grace thing. How about you guys?
Yeah, I just want to point out that I think Paul pointed in a very interesting direction, that one of the highest achievements in this life is just to have an ordinary, peaceful, stable life. And it's one of the aspirations in Taoism is that we can just get along somehow and make things gradually better by strengthening ourselves. So I think it's something that, we shouldn't necessarily overlook. And then the other aspect that everybody's been so chill and laid back, it doesn't necessarily drive engagement or the algorithms, but it definitely helped me better formulate and progress my own understanding and evolution as a human being. And I think that's somehow more important than the other thing, right?
It is. Beautiful. Thank you, Frank. Truth or Cop, you still there?
Yeah, I'm just listening. Yeah, I didn't have much to add to that. Appreciate the conversation. Yeah, there's a lot to say, but we'll get there.
Well, and thank you. You brought me the clips and the times, and we were able to share some of the more current events with viewers today. Thank you for bringing those.
Thanks for allowing me the space to have that conversation here, because I didn't want to, I hate streaming and doing the video share and stuff. It was so much simpler. I could focus on what actually I wanted to. So thank you. Good to see you, Paul.
Especially with your backwoods internet, Truth or Cop.
I know it's terrible.
Yeah,
figure it out.
It is, and your audio kind of sucks a lot too.
All
right, Truther, I'm going to bounce you out. Thank you. Frank, anything last from you, brother?
No, just blessings. Thank you, Jack. Thanks for the time up here, and good to see both you and Paul. Have a great one, man.
All right, Frank.
Much love. And Paul, always a pleasure, my brother. I won't rush you out. If you've got anything you want to discuss or share, please.
Yeah, I had someone bring to me a while back an event, and I kind of, dismissed it. But I've been thinking about potentially drawing from that well. I created a new brand called Rise Above Fear, and I trademarked it. I'm just teasing you a little bit, Jack. But yeah, no, that was the first statement was true. Where I'm considering reaching out to an ex-military guy. He wanted to drive from one side of the country to the other without any license, registration, insurance, or plates as a sort of group event, right? So I've been entertaining that potentially going forward in the future. If nothing else, just to be part of the experience, generate some interest for all of us, some excitement, and rise above fear and see where it takes us. Because apparently I've tried to live without fear and I can't get it done. So best I can do sometimes, some places, is rise above fear. You can have that one, Jack, if you we've been known to create brands for each other in the past. So you want that one, you can have it. I don't have the will to trademark it. So you're big on the trademarking thing.
Yeah, you know what? All that is supporting the system. So why the hell would I do that anyway? Right? Paying the fees and documenting the registration. Screw that. We know what we mean. We know what we're doing. That actually sounds pretty cool. If there's a way for you to participate without great expense or cost, so that you're kind of covered, that could be an amazing adventure, dude. Really could.
As long as we don't run into somebody and prove everybody to be right? Imagine we do a 20-man event. We ride across country and run into some illegal migrant or something, and then everybody owes money and we can't pay it, and they'll say, see, this is why you should have had everything and the insurance. You never know. If nothing else, it'll be exciting, right? If I decide to move forward with it. But I'm still on the mend, so to speak, as they say, across the pond. So I'm still dealing with some pains and focusing on that. I think that's kind of where I've been brought to, is I have to focus on my body and my health and other sort of regular day-to-day stuff before I can get back to taking over the world, so to speak, with Jack Talcott and others. But let me get the hell out of here. Peace for everyone. Choose love, live without fear, all that stuff. And I'll see you when I get glasses.
Much love. Blessings to you. Truth or Judge, that is Paul Unslaved. For those who don't know, proper instruction motivates people. Actually, yep, our Paul, you're right. That Love Without Fear, I believe it is still available to trademark. I let it lapse. I secured it and then I let it lapse. I didn't pay the fee to continue the process. But doggone what Paul was saying. He said something there that I wanted to reflect. Oh, health, brothers and sisters. Yes, health is so important. And that's something, admittedly, my life I have been blessed. I've, knock on wood, I haven't had major health issues through my life, just my own poor choices, so to say. But health truly is important. And as our bodies find these pains, it's really easy to focus on the pains. As we go through our days and we find problems, it's really easy to focus on the problems. When we get betrayed, things get stolen, things get lost, they turn up missing, it's really easy to focus on those things that are not there. But brothers and sisters, there's always another way. You don't have to look at the pain, you can look at the health. You don't have to look at the problem, you can look at the solution. You don't have to look at the absence, you can look at what is here. And what is here right now, brothers and sisters, with all of us, what is with us is the truth of this time. God, the creator, the one source, that which offers forth life, time, light, and all that is, that source has prepared us, you and me and everybody else, for this time. This time, here we are, January 17th, 2026. We're prepared for this time in the truth. And through us, with us, there are layers and layers of the past that we might be aware of and that we don't even know of. But there's layers and layers of the past contained within me, within you, and within everything that we are with. But everything that we are with and within me, within you, it's the future. Right now is where life begins. Allow your life to begin right now and right here with peace and love and joy. You start out that way and you can carry it. If you drop it, you pick it back up, but you keep your mind on peace and love and joy. And of course, stay honest, stay true. I'm going to wrap it up. Brothers and sisters, thank you again, sincerely, from me to you. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Peace. I got a freeze there. Something going on. Brothers and sisters, peace and blessing. Much love.